Hello dear friends, I welcome everyone who is watching Sotnik-TV. Today is Saturday, August 29th, 2020. It's 7 p.m. in Moscow and we're streaming live. Things keep moving forward in Belarus, and today I've contacted a blogger from the city of Gomel. His name is Maxim Filipovich. He was recommended by one of our reviewers from Belarus, and I must say that I am pleased that I've met him. I hope that after you listen to this person, a lot of things will be clearer for you. Since we're located outside Belarus, we miss some of the details. So he will provide an update on this story over the protest in Belarus. Coming up next, see part of my conversation with Maxim Filipovich. Hello, Maxim, please describe the current turmoil in Belarus. What are people there saying and what do they anticipate? I heard another mass rally is scheduled for August 30th in Minsk. Please give some more details. I suppose that the protest rallies here are completely controlled by the government. I assume that no revolution is expected. The entire protest has now been pacified into giving flowers, hugging, kissing and taking pictures with police. People now unite under both the real flag of Belarus and the one adopted by Alexander Lukashenko. I assume that nothing revolutionary is going to happen here. Everything is under the control of Lukashenko and Putin. Unfortunately, Belarusian society has been split in half. That was achieved by the Belarusian and Russian authorities. Part of the Belarusians dreams of making our country part of Russian Federation, while another part hopes that the Republic of Belarus will benefit thanks to these protest rallies. Unfortunately, there won't be any move toward improving Belarus. On the contrary, this is a good chance for Alexander Lukashenko to detect the most active opposition figures and to arrest them. The remaining protesters will only be able to threaten the authorities with flowers. A couple of days ago, Vladimir Putin declared Belarus elections legitimate and announced that he created several military units to assist Alexander Lukashenko. Do Belarusians consider this statement by Putin a formal declaration to invade their country? Unfortunately, not all of them realize what's going on. In fact, Putin and Lukashenko declared that the fate of our country is sealed. I have no doubt about their intentions. The fate of Belarus is sealed, which means that my family and I will need to leave the country sooner or later. What does the future hold for Belarus? Which direction will the country go? Do you think that it will simply be swallowed by this huge empire, a bear looking for its next meal? Actually, it was assimilated into the empire a long time ago. Mr. Lukashenko has been in power for the last 26 years now. So Belarus was in fact absorbed by Russia during Lukashenko's reign as president. Over half of the Belarus economy depends on Russia. 26 years ago, Lukashenko could have started moving the country towards an alliance with Europe. He could have tried to make it a part of the Euro Union. If that had happened, life and politics here would have been very different now. If we look at the economy of Poland from 26 years ago, it was no better than Belarus. But now life in Poland is better, while Belarus still resembles a Soviet-era country. So in recent years, Belarus has remained in the paradigm of a Soviet agricultural country. It has been unable to break free of this paradigm, right? After the USSR collapsed, Belarus turned into a neo-Soviet state. And Mr. Lukashenko used the past 26 years of his rule to prepare the country as it became a part of the Federation. This plan seems quite clear and obvious to me. I assume that Lukashenko will only use this current president term to prepare for his own retirement. He needs to finish some business with the legal system and the economy. And after he prepares the country to become a part of the Federation, he will retire. From one perspective, he will be considered a hero. Under his rule, Belarus became independent and quite prosperous. However, after he resigns, the country's economy will collapse and be forced to give away its independence. How soon do you expect Belarus to be absorbed by Russia and become a part of a new union? I think during his presidential term that began after the so-called elections, everything will be finally settled, and after the next elections, Belarus will be led by a different person, who will be the governor of the Belarus region of Russia. How come Lukashenko acted differently from before? He tried to straddle both worlds, and now he's forced to trade Belarus independence for the opportunity of being the head of the country, even though the country may be turned into a part of Russia. Such was the game he played. How else could he have acted? He needed to receive another loan. The economy of Belarus has been declining for years. It never made any profit. So in order to get another loan from the West, Lukashenko pretended he was Putin's enemy. Still, it was nothing but a farce. He would never dare to start a fight with Russia, whose army ranks alongside the world's strongest. Only powers such as the US and China can compete against it. So there is nothing else to discuss on the matter. As a Belarus patriot, I'm sorry to say that everything has concluded in the worst way possible. Still, we need to face the truth, no matter how sad it is. The second wave of COVID-19 pandemic is coming. The authorities on the front lines of the Kremlin and beyond are bracing themselves for another severe economic crisis. It will overshadow the crisis of 2008. I assume that the new crisis may be similar to the Great Depression that occurred around a century ago. By the way, it was triggered by the second outbreak of the Spanish flu. For us, the second wave of the coronavirus may trigger a similar economic crisis. Countries around the world will have to close their borders and enforce a total lockdown similar to the one from the first wave of the virus. As you know, during the pandemic everything was closed, planes didn't fly and ships didn't sail, factories stopped producing and so on. There was a total lockdown. Anyway, governments all around the world will try to delay the upcoming lockdown for as long as possible. The goal of doing this is quite clear. Small and medium businesses need time to accumulate some reserve funds. That's because the global economy is based on small and medium businesses. One may call it the muscles of an economy. Let me point out that I'm talking about the global economy rather than something called the economy inside Putin's cave. Of course, there are major transnational companies, such as Boeing, Apple, Microsoft, Mercedes, BMW and the rest. Those giants make the framework, or the skeleton of the global economy, which is strong. Still, it will collapse without any muscle mass. As local stores and restaurants, small companies providing services for the local people are the substance that fuels the economy. Whenever possible, the authorities would normally support those businesses during the first wave of the pandemic. Different countries have different methods for helping their businesses inside their borders. So the measure of available support varied in the USA, Lithuania and Poland. But now this potential has decreased, so the potential damage the world is facing is going to be devastating. The crisis is predicted to occur in 2021. I'm not going to provide a more exact date. I can't be sure on whether it will be during the first or the second half of the year. Compared to the pre-crisis year of 2019, the demand for goods and services may decrease down to 1/10 by 2021, which is dramatic. The crisis is expected to last for a year or two. After this, a slow economic growth will occur. The global economy may need 5 to 10 years to reach the pre-crisis level. Let me stop before I say anything for certain or predict any exact numbers, since this requires more detailed data from numerous sectors of the economy. Still, I encourage all our viewers to save money. Save as much money as you can. And by money I don't mean the ruble, as the ruble is not money you can rely on. So accumulate money, as pretty soon you might need funds to last for a long time. Thank you for watching the show. I'll see you next week.